us, tell us what's the time in Mexico right now?
Here it's 6 p.m.
6 p.m. There you go. Uh, I'm here in Chile. It's 9:20, 9:23 p.m. as well.
Wow, 3 hours.
3 hours difference. Yeah, it's not a lot considering how far you guys are. Um,
Yeah, you're right.
what about in Mexico? Are you?
Hmm?
What is the
How?
name of your city?
How's the weather? It's well, it's hot. It's cold. It's cold here.
No, no, not the weather. I'm asking what is the name of your city?
Okay. Well, I live in Apan. That's the name of my city.
Okay. Um, excuse me, my ignorance. And how far is that from the capital city, from Mexico, DF?
It's like 2 hours from
Oh,
here.
2 hours, 2 hours away. Okay, it's not north, south, east, or west.
Eh?
Is it north or south, east, or west?
I live in the center of my country.
Yes, but 2 hours away from. Okay, I'm gonna give you a tip. Yeah, for example, I am from the north of Chile in my country. If I meet someone from anywhere in the world and they ask me, "Where are you from?" I'm from Chile. Okay, and if they say, "What city are you from?" I will say, "Okay, I am from Coquimbo, which is 4 hours a- um, away from Santiago. It's from hours north from the Santiago city, you know? So immediately they can picture, oh yeah, 4 hours north from the city. So that's why I'm asking you, which part of the Mexico city are you from? I mean, how far is it? Which direction from the city are you from? North, south, east, or west of Mexico City?
In the center of the country, I live near the Mexico City, the capital.
Nice, that's very nice. And could I ask you, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, well, I'm a scientist. I'm dedicated to science, to investigate.
Fine, that's a beautiful, beautiful word to do. Look, every time I have the chance to interact with my students, I always tell them how important learning English is because, especially in science, when you look at reports, most of the highest or the latest information about it is always in English language. If you're gonna limit yourself to Spanish or Italian or any other language in the world, it would be much harder for you to 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 be able to find information because English is the way. It's where most of the information is available. You know.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
Absolutely. So, what kind of science? Tell us a bit more about your job. Sounds very
Well,
interesting.
about cryogenics, it has to do with low temperatures, and well, I basically study several fields.
Mhm.
For example, biology, cryobiology, chemistry, uh, and of course mathematics,
Mathematics. Wow.
physics, thermodynamics. Well, a set of fields in sciences.
Okay, so here's a very difficult. This is a question, important question for you. If you have the chance to have an influence in your government, in your country, my country, any country in the world, based on the science point of view, what do you think people should know about science? Which area you think school or educational in general should teach when it comes to science?
Okay. Well, I think it should be taught at schools, more about biology and psychology. Well, you know, it has to do with quantum physics as well. Uh, that part would be most important. The biology and what's behind that in terms of well, you know, neuroscience basically. That's what I mean. Neurosciences, and
Like a
it's
neurolinguistics.
not new. Yeah, of course that too. But neurosciences, well, you know, there are several researches about that, about neuroplasticity,
Yeah.
and also the capacity to recover ourselves, our bodies. You know, we are going through a difficult situation, a trouble. Well, and we have to know that we have the power to recover ourselves. That has to do with epigenetics. Okay, it's a new well, it's something that's been studied currently. Well, that's my viewpoint according to what you said. What I think people should study more.
Okay.
Well,
If you talk about quantum physics, when will be the appropriate age for children or teenagers to start learning quantum physics? Physics, you think?
children and teenagers as well.
Children. Okay. Secondary, third grade, fifth grade, yeah.
From well, I think in fifth grade, yeah, of course.
Right, fifth grade. And how do you teach that? You know, I don't know much about quantum physics. I read a few articles about it. It's about time and space. You know when the time is, but you don't know where it's gonna be. The what's it called? The observer effect, right?
Yeah,
The Schrodinger's cat. That
yeah, of course, that experiment.
yeah, yeah. So when you know if what's the story? Tell me if the cat is in the bag, is he alive? How does that work? So, remind me about that because I forgot. I've read these things years ago.
Yeah, that was a theory. Well, that's an explanation about the
Uh-huh.
theory that everything. Well, in the quantum world,
Yeah.
there are a lot of possibilities. Okay, and that's why it was represented that way for by Schrödinger.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so if you go out in the woods and you shout and no one hears it, did does that really happen? I forgot. Can you remind me about this analogy that if you go out in the woods and you shout your name and no one hears it, did that actually happen? Is it like that, right?
How? Well, I didn't get it. That.
There are so many different stories about quantum physics, whether um, it's like if you can't not prove something, you can never really say whether it happens or not. So if you go out in the wood and you shout the words and nobody hears it, there is a whole debate about whether did that happen or not. You are you familiar with that story? No.
No, I'm not familiar with that story.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. I know. It's a very deep subject, and it brings a lot to the table. There was another guy because before I used to hear speech about quantum physics, yeah, and this guy was saying that we see life linear, like normally put the past in one point, the present in the middle, and the future in the right timeline, and we think that the past has happened and we have no influence in the past and the future is coming, and you can have an influence on the future. So quantum physics turn that around. And if you focus your energy in the past, you can go back in time to a certain moment where you've been having like a bad experience, and you can bring that back into your mind and get the best out of it, and you can heal your mind. So you can turn your background around to make it look like you actually had a good childhood. So quantum physics travels back in time with your brain and help you heal uh, whatever emotional scar you may have had in your life.
Yeah, you're right about it. I agree with that part because that's true, of course. Well, um, everything. Well, I'm also into uh, metaphysics. It
Uh-huh.
has to do with it as well.
Absolutely.
That we are in the field. Well, you know the field. The the quantum field.
The quantum field.
Well,
Correct.
yeah.
Uh, it's all very deep stuff. You know, I was living in Indonesia back in 2003, and I joined this. I was teaching English back then, and I have a part-time job in a company, in a Canadian company called Math Science. Okay, and
Okay.
and they will send us over to. We will go to people's birthday and do scientific. It's like a scientific show, and I remember one very funny about it, where you just um give the students an egg and try to get them to fit in a in a in a bottle, and everyone will say it don't fit, it won't fit. But then you bring another egg, a boiled egg, and then you will blow it, and the egg will get in, even though the pipe of the bottle was smaller than the egg. So that will give the student an explanation about the scientific part, how you make the egg fit inside the bottle.
Yeah.
And I tried to Google and I tried to research, but this company called Math Science, it's very clever about hiding their tricks because they were all really good. And it was a very good approach to teach children about science to a very early age.
Whoa.
So yeah, I was very thrilled about it. I wish, in South America we could do more of it. I think this should be taught in the school.
Well, yeah, you're right. Well, in Latin America, it's kind of difficult to introduce that part
It is difficult.
easily.
And what
Yeah.
what what makes you motivated to study science?
Mhm.
What motivated you to study science in the first place?
Oh, well, when I was a child, I dreamed of being a scientist. Well, kind of like that. I wanted to be a doctor or an engineer, certain things, but it has to do, well, anyway, it has to do with sciences. But then when I was in high school, I discovered what I wanted to do,
Wow,
really, and I was interested in chemistry and and biology as well.
wow, that's really interesting. And how do you what do you find the biggest challenge to study science?
What would be the biggest challenge?
Yes, to
Is
study
that what you
science.
said?
Yeah.
Okay, when studying sciences, but basically there's no interest into that in many places. Now the new generation of people, of children or teenagers, they're more how do you say that? Well, there's no responsibility. There's no good education or conscious. That's the main challenge. Consciousness.
That is true. That is true. And how can we grow that on children? I know, I'm sorry you don't have all the answers, but maybe since you study science and you know a bit more about most people I know, I was wondering about it, What would be the best way
Okay.
what would be the best way to approach our children? Because I gotta tell you, I come from the north of Chile. Yeah. This is a city called Antofagasta. It's 1,200 kilometers away from Santiago, and it's a very mining city. And every teenager they want to learn either engineering, uh, human resources, or health and safety, because they know if they study any of these subjects, they will have a job in the mining field, and the mining normally pays really well, and that's great, and it works for many people. But if you look at that part of the country, nobody is interested to learn anything else, and there is so much more than that. There is art, there is science, there is history, there is so many subjects people can learn. But in that particular part of the area, most people wish just to become either an engineer or something to do with a mining field in order to work in the mining, make a lot of money, and don't care about anything else. That's why.
Yeah, they are all stereotypes, and it's like a program. People program other people to do something. They give you an image of how the world would be or how the world should be according to their thoughts. But there's no something more objective. Well, you know, well, if I am an engineer, you have to be an engineer or something like that. There's no actually there's no freedom in thoughts.
That's true. That's true. The second biggest mistake people have in my country is that if your father does a certain particular profession, the son does the same. And even in my country, it's very common that the father give one of his child, the first child, if he's a man, the same name. So it's like you are creating more of the same, uh, generation after generation. And I think it should be different. We should grow out of it and start thinking more for what's coming. And at the moment, after this coronavirus situation, the society in our country has been pushed forward to more technologies, and a lot of jobs that we have at the moment are not going to be available in 10 years or even less. Everything will be more robotic, automatic, and people are not really following that trend.
Yeah, yeah, that is. Uh, well, science is going mm, faster than well than before. It's actually um, really well. It's exciting in a certain way, but
Sure.
the thing is that people sometimes is not prepared for that. They're not preparing for that kind of changes.
Yeah, that
But
is.
well, that's really profound or deep. It's
Yeah,
deep.
I know, I know, I know. And hobbies. Do you have any hobbies?
And
Do you have
sorry,
Do you have any hobbies?
hobbies. Oh yeah. Well, I like to read certain books. Well, I've got my own interests, but I read. Yeah, of course. That's one of my hobbies, and also to listen to music that's kind of typical, but I like to listen to instrumental music, to meditate. Yeah.
I think if you live in the science world, you need some time to clear your mind.
Yeah, that I needed
I'm sure.
to to be um to be centered, no, focused all the time.
Yes, I would imagine that you probably like some classical music, something just to take you
Yeah,
out.
yes, because of the frequencies on the how do you say this? The structure of that music, which is perfect. And well, it makes me feel really happy, really relaxed sometimes, or most of the time.
It's very well recommended. Even when a wife when a woman is pregnant, they said that if you play classic music, it will have a very positive impact on the growing baby, you know?
Yeah, that is all this vibration.
Yeah, yeah. Classic music is always very well recommended just to ease your mind off if you have any particular situation of stress that you have in life, if you have anxieties, they always recommend to play um, classic music and more
Yeah,
people.
it helps a lot. It helps a lot to
Yeah,
connect with yourself and with and also with nature. You feel more connected.
yes, connect
You
with
you
yourself.
feel you feel more present.
Yes, yes. And here's a question for you, if you have any idea about this. What do you think about parallel universe?
Parallel universe. Well, I believe that.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
It's always a possibility, right?
Yeah, there's a possibility. There's a lot of possibilities.
Um, and considering if we accept the fact that parallel universe is a reality, yeah, let's suppose you and I that it's a reality. What would you recommend we should do about this?
Can you repeat that question again?
Okay,
Well, can you repeat that question?
of course. Let's assume that parallel universe is real. Okay,
Okay.
so that means there is another Tony Vega in another universe, or maybe five, six, or seven other versions of yourselves that exist, right?
Okay.
So the question is, how can we connect with that higher version of yourself? Whether it's higher or lower, we don't know. But how can we use that information to improve our existence in this life? This is too deep. You don't have to answer that.
Okay. Well, that's tricky. Uh, um, well, if we suppose we are into different realities, well, of course, at the same time, well, how could we access to that? Well, those the realities. What the first thing that comes to my mind is that we could enter into those realities
Yeah.
by means of our imagination. Of course, because that's all we can imagine, that those or we can enter into those dimensions.
Yes.
We could imagine in that way. We could, well, actually, that's what we do all the time. We imagine, and we plan things before doing them.
Yes. Yes. So by
But
imagining what would life could be, we are somehow in a deeper level, we are connected with the other version of ourselves.
yeah, because when we imagine, we are seeing, we are looking at. the 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 things happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
we can look at things. We can look at things happening. Those are the realities, actually.
yeah, yeah. This is why some people have these really weird dreams when they see things and they wake up in the middle of the night and everything seems so real. And you're thinking, did that actually happen? Was that really me? Or sometimes people have dream with things that they're gonna happen in the future, like a premonitory dreams, you know? How do you
Oh
explain?
yeah, the feeling that is, yeah. How can we explain that? Yeah, in the dreams, what are the dreams actually,
Yeah,
or the well you say yeah, of course that is the intuition,
intuition.
um, which is the feeling that's what you are talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you feel something before it happens, that's intuition.
it is absolutely. And when we dreams, the day after, whenever you wake up, why we are so into it? It's not like many things happens in your day every day that you see, that you experience, and that you feel, you touch with your five senses. You can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it. But when the moment when you dream, some dreams are so special that you keep thinking about it all day, and you can go online, you do your research, and you try to find an answer for it. It might not always be the right answer, but the question is why our brain, our mind get us so into that, you know?
Yeah, we access to useful and great information in dreams. There are cases of people who have achieved great things because they dreamed or they obtained the information in their dreams. No,
Yeah.
or well, I know that also in meditation, of course. Well, for example, Steve Jobs, he he um, he mm, he was well, he meditated, right?
Yeah.
And he obtained the ideas, and also because we access to information by putting ourselves into different levels of frequencies, meta waves or alpha waves, right?
It is true. People see Steve Jobs like a very pragmatic businessman, but it was not that. I read the story about his life. And before he started Apple, he went off for a trip in India and he learned all about meditation, about ancient cultures, about how Buddhism thinks, and he applied those principles for his business. And all that was before Apple is ever was anything in the world. So I knew that. And also the same thing applies for Michael Jackson. Did you know that Michael Jackson had these meditation sessions and then he will go to bed and wake up the next day at 3 o'clock in the morning and he will run, wake up all of his team and start creating a song. And they say, Michael, why are you in such a hurry? And he will go, we got to get that done as soon as possible before Prince make it. So it sounded like the information that he was getting, it was some way up in the cloud, and the same way he access to it, anyone else could, and whoever bring that down into this field, it will make it real, you know?
Yeah, that is, and that's the power of the mind when we are in certain states of relaxation, or well, we are aligned. Yeah, you're aligned with that energy or intelligence. We use our really real potential. Uh, but well, that needs uh, training. Yeah,
Absolutely.
to train, to educate ourselves, to explore more our our potential.
Yes. I know some people have the talent to do astral travel. Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
What do you know? Tell us.
I, I've read about that.
Okay. Uh, I have a friend I used to practice with in the past. This was over 20 years ago. And I learned and I study and I learned some technique to get it done. And I practice for so long every day and I could never get it done. And then I learned that some people have a certain talent for it and they do it without any training. And they have seen themselves flying off their bodies. They see their own bodies and they just keep going forward and they see different colors, they see different things, they can see other people that actually are living and see. And I think it's really, really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that is.
the people who have spoken this with, they are
It's
people who have,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah. You can see in their eyes when they talk that they are honest people. They are not trying to sell you anything. They're not trying to convince you. And they don't talk about this with anybody. You need to find certain, I don't know, special people or people who are into this matter they feel comfortable with, and they bring the subject out in the table, and it's so so nice to hear about this.
Yeah, you're right. And when you experience something like that, wow, it would be amazing, wonderful.
It is. I totally agree with you.
I,
Uh,
I remember I sometime experienced something similar to that in a dream, and that also motivated me to look for or to yeah to look for more information about it. You know, the dreams, um, the imagination, how we create reality by imagining, and that's well, it took me there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Tony, it was very nice chatting with you. I'm gonna have to head off now because it's 10 p.m. in the night in here. So I'm gonna get back to
Okay,
my things. I'm gonna be gone for 20, 30 minutes and then I'll be back online again. So if you are available, let us know. And if not, I will be posting more soon like this so we can have a chat and have conversation as interesting as the one we have today. Okay?
okay. Well, I'll be available. It's early here. It's
Excellent.
7 p.m. Well, or we could share messages at me on Facebook or on WhatsApp if you want to.
Excellent. Excellent. I have a WhatsApp group. I normally send a link through there so we can
Oh,
have
that's perfect. Oh,
I have
could you share your group here by here?
of course, of course. Let me see. Um I don't know how to do that. Do you have my Facebook?
No.
So how do you get this link?
Well, it was I was on Facebook and I entered in a Facebook group
Yeah.
and I saw the link
I
to this
just
session.
I send you my Facebook name, Kenneth Olave, and direct message.
Okay,
So
okay.
if you look me on my Facebook and you send me an hello through there, I can send you the information.
That's perfect.
And I'll be back in 20, 30 minutes anyway if you want to keep having a talk, okay?
Okay.
Excellent, buddy. It was very nice
So
talking to
thank
you.
you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation, and let's continue.
So yeah, we will, we will.
Let's keep. So okay. Bye.
Talk soon, buddy.